How's it going, everybody? Ian back with another video. Hopefully, y'all are having a wonderful week. I am going to do a tag tonight. This is authors I've read the most by tag. I saw this over on Hey Y'all Listens Up channel. John over there. I will leave a link to his channel below. Go check him out. Uh, so I saw this there. The original was Jeremy Fee, and I will leave a link down below for his channel. He created this one. So basically, this is the authors that I've read the most by, starting with five books. So and then it just goes up from there until you get to what your most read author is. So I've got 9 for 5 books. I've got Mark Miller. He did the Kick-Ass graphic novels. Brian Smith. We're going to go a little faster because I don't want this to take too long. Brian Smith is a horror writer. David Baldacci, Lincoln Child, Peter Clines, who wrote the Ex-Human or Ex-Patriot series, which is a God darn it, I read it a few months ago. Superheroes in a post-apocalyptic zombie wasteland, basically. Vince Flynn, political thriller writer. David Goldman, kind of like James Rollins, adventure novels. And then Jack Ketchum and Richard Lehman, who are in the horror genre. I read all five books from those guys. 6 books. I've got 5 authors here. Blake Crouch wrote the Pines Deep trilogy, which is amazing. Richard Kadrey, he writes Sandman Slim novels. James Patterson, of course, that's the Alex Cross series. I read 6 of those. Sam Sisavath writes a post-apocalyptic novel series. And then Angus Watson, he wrote 6 fantasy series, 6 fantasy novels, I should say. 7 books. Joe Abercrombie, I keep on blanking, the First Laws trilogy. And then I read a few Red Country and Best Served Cold, read those ones. Cullen Bunn, he wrote a lot of, I've read 7 of his Deadpool graphic novels. Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park, Congo, all that fun stuff. John Gwynn, my favorite author to date right now in this day and age. I've read all 7 of his books, The Faithful and the Fallen and the Of Blood and Bone series. Go check them out. A brand new book is coming in May. Can't wait. Greg Hurwitz, he did the Orphan X novels. And then Ian Robb Wright wrote a bunch of horror novels. 8 books. Brian Keene, a horror author. Robert McCammon, of course, Swan Song and Boy's Life. DJ Moles, and he wrote a post-apocalyptic zombie series. And then Brandon Sanderson, I've read 8 of his books. I've read the Reckner series by him. The first, Mistborn. I think I read the first 2. I didn't really. I'm not into. I didn't get into Sanderson. I read one of the second Mistborn Era 2, the first in that series, and then I read the first 2 in the Stormlight Archives. 9 is Mark Cameron. He's got a thriller series. David Morrell, of course, is First Blood. Then Brian Posehn, he wrote a bunch of Deadpool graphic novels. And then Doug Preston / Lincoln Child wrote some action adventure science fiction novels. I've read 10 books from these 4 authors. Matt Hilton, he writes thriller stuff. I've read 10 of Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead graphic novel, and then 10 Scott Mariani novels, which is a thriller. And then I've read the Repairman Jack series by F. Paul Wilson, and then a few other of his novels. And then I've read 12 of this one author. It's James Axler, the Deathland series, a post-apocalyptic adventure series written back in like the 80s, and it's still kind of going on, I believe. But yeah, 12 of those. I've read 13 J.A. Conrath / Jack Kilborn. They're the same person. He writes like action adventure, horror, a lot of horror novels. 14 Stephen Hunter, one of my favorite authors in high school. I kind of got away from him. I don't know, maybe I just got bored, but he wrote the Bob Lee Swagger books and Earl Lee Swagger. He wrote like Shooter, Pale Horse Coming, so 14 of those. 15 books, I've read Garth Ennis, which is The Punisher, Preacher, and The Boys. He writes a lot of graphic novels. And then Jeremy Robinson, who writes the Chess Team thrillers. 16. 16 books by these three. Clive Cussler, Matthew Riley, who's one of my favorite authors, probably might be my favorite action adventure. He's got a novel coming out the day after John Gwynne, so I'm really excited to get those two books. And then Larry Correia writes the Monster Hunter and Hard Magic series, which is like urban fantasy stuff. It's awesome. 17 books by Jonathan Mayberry. Mayberry wrote the Pines Deep trilogy. The Rotten Ruin young adult series is amazing. Jonathan Mayberry, and then he writes the Joe Ledger series. 18 books I have read by these two, James Rollins, of course, and then Andy McDermott, who writes like Indiana Jones action adventure. And then the last few here, I've read 19 Stephen King books, and then I've read 19 Lee Child books. That's the Jack Reacher series. I've read I've read 19 Jack Reacher books, I guess. Second place is 22 books. 22 books by William W. Johnstone. He writes. He had this huge series, post-apocalyptic series that I can't remember right now. And then he writes a lot of westerns, and then just some thriller books. And then number one, 22 books was the second place. Number one was 40 books. I had no idea I read 40 books from this author, but it's John Land. He writes the Blaine McCracken series, the Caitlin Strong series, and then he's got a few more individual books. But John Land, 40 books I've read from him. And that's it. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for bringing this to my attention, John and Jeremy. It's going to be awesome, hopefully. Have a good one.